How's it going, Anthony?
Good, good.
Doing all right?
Yeah, okay, there it is. We're live. Okay.
So you going? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you're
It's
welcome.
been it's been like a back and forth, right? I know you invited me months ago,
Yeah,
and I told my wife when I saw you had Tony, a big Tony Valdez the other day, and
yeah.
I said I don't know if I was supposed to be that one or am I supposed to be another one because we're both Tony.
Both
But
Tony, yeah.
yeah, but I enjoyed it, man. I saw that one. That was really cool, man.
Awesome.
It
Yeah.
was,
Hey,
it
we
was good to see my
we
brother.
brought up my family members, Isaac and Ralph and Tony and Michelle and all of them, and you said that you
Yeah,
knew them. That was
yeah.
crazy.
Grew up in the same neighborhood.
Nah,
Which
that's
to
wild,
school with
man.
Tony, I think we were in the same grade. Either he and I or his sister. We were all about the same age at that time.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Went to the same
Uh,
elementary school.
Same elementary school.
Yeah,
Wow, that's wild. Yeah, it's so crazy how we're just connected and we've been in the city like all this time, It's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah, so you're born and raised here in Corpus.
Born and raised 1975. Yeah,
Yeah, that's nice.
I grew up
So
grew up in the neighborhood where I went to school, Los Encinos. Grew up there my entire life. That's where I was raised, and went through all my school years there. Living there. Junior high, high school. And
mhm.
as soon as graduated high school, of course, eventually, I moved out of the house and I've been living over here on the kind of like by where the water's at on, kind of like the hospital district area,
Right.
for the past almost 30 years.
Wow. Man, that's awesome. So you living in a hospital where's the hospital district? I'm sorry, I got lost there.
Right here where Spawn Shoreline is, I call it the hospital district because there's a bunch of clinics all around.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
that's the best way I can describe it. Because if I say by the water, it's not really. I'm not too close to the water. I'm still about I'm still about a quarter mile from the water, but it's close, pretty close. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Kind of near 6 Points and like the post office because I live in that area too. I
yeah,
live
yeah, that's
near,
yeah,
yeah. So I know exactly where that's at. In fact, I think the place where I live, it's hospital district too because the hospital is like a block over,
yeah.
like literally a block over from where I'm at.
Yep, it sure is.
Yeah, man. It's awesome. So you've been here your whole life. So you went to Los Encinos and then what? Carroll,
Um, Cunningham.
Cunningham.
I
Yeah,
think, I think that they have a new name now. I forgot what it's called, but
yeah.
well, it's still Cunningham, I guess, at South Park now. But I think the mascot is different, no, or the
I guess I don't know. I drove by the old South Park and I saw the new building. I was like, "Hey, what's this?" And I
yeah,
saw the new building, so I don't know.
yeah. I think they're the is it the Lobos, the Wolves? I don't remember. But
Yeah,
Cunningham used to be the Cougars, and I think the Cougars are
right.
pretty cool.
Oh, and yellow and gold. Was it gold and green or
Green,
something?
big green.
Yeah.
So
Wow, man. Yeah, I went to Windseel, over here, but close by where we're at.
the
Yeah, man.
Badland Bucks, the little Bucks.
Yeah, the Buckaroos,
Yeah, the
Buckaroos,
Buckaroos, man.
Buckaroos. Yeah, it was pretty tough. Like it was before they changed it into the whatever technology thing it is. Yeah. So totally, man. I think we went to like, I think it was like city championship or state city championship or something,
Yeah,
and we lost to Haas Middle School. Yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for coming on, and I appreciate you supporting the brand, man. Yeah, we had met up a couple of times. Yeah, bought a hat and I think it was a hoodie, or I don't remember. Yeah, a hoodie and a hat, and then we hooked your daughter up with a hoodie too. So
yeah,
man, we really appreciate that helping
absolutely,
out.
man. And I
Yeah.
see you got some more product. It's been hectic, man, here on this side, man, with work and everything. So, but I'm meaning to buy some more things, man. I like the that hat you're wearing. That's got the flower print and everything. That's really
Oh,
cool.
thank you. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
I like that, man. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I was kind of like what, because when I started it, I was like, well, what kind of elements could I put on the brand? You know what I mean? And it was just like well, stuff that from around here. Like we go to the beach, we know how to fish. You know what I mean? We know how to it's right near the coast, and I was just like, just do something like that. Put it with like the skulls and the other stuff that I like to put in there too.
Yeah.
Just to keep it the stuff that I like and maybe people would like also. Yeah, so I was even thinking of like putting like a skeleton dude, like fishing dude, you know what I mean, or something like
Oh,
that, because
that would be cool, man. That
you
I
know what I'm
would.
saying.
You got to buy her here, man. If you make that, shoot, I'll get it, dude.
Yeah, you see, like, because we do that, like we fish, like like I know family members, they wake up like at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, they go fishing,
Oh
and
yeah,
they're there all day. I'm like, dang.
brother. Yeah, we're a fishing family, man.
Yeah,
Myself,
exactly.
my wife, and my daughter's getting turned on to it now.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
let's
It's
do it, dude.
it's like one way or another we figured out at least how to like put shrimp on the hook and toss it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Somebody showed us along the line.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, so I was thinking of stuff like that for the brand and everything like that. So hey, um, you're involved in like you said, you're involved in like your church or something like that. Is that what your current profession right now?
Yeah, I've been a pastor since um, it's been. Well, I started off as a youth pastor. I'll go back a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
was a youth pastor from like 2005 to like 2010,
Mm-hmm.
and probably a little bit longer. And so we stepped away from youth ministry in order to go back and have some more training. My wife and I,
Mm-hmm.
and then we left to San Antonio for about 2 years. And when we came back, of course, I was ordained to help pastor the church and to help lead the church here in Corpus, and also to oversee the recovery home that we have. It's a men's home,
Mm-hmm.
and so I got sent back 2 years later, and I started leading the men's home, and I've been leading the men's home and helping to pastor the church since 2015,
Wow.
and so that's what I do. Yeah, and and I enjoy it. And it's been an experience. And it's been a great journey so far. You know, but I
Yeah.
get the joy of seeing people's lives changed. And seeing something that's you know miracles. I really don't know another way to put it. Without having to sound real religious or whatever.
Yeah.
I have the privilege and the joy of seeing those things. And of course, it comes with its challenges, like anything
Right.
else. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm right where I need to be.
That's cool. It's like a purpose. You have a purpose to be there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is, man. I felt what we call the call, and to step into this, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, years ago, before everything, of course, I had a regular full time job, and had other plans and aspirations, but there was just the desire just kept growing, stronger for me to do this. And so eventually I made the transition, with of course, with much, prayer and support, and I went ahead and, went in full time. And this is what I've been doing since. And,
Wow.
it's, some people call it a career, and, it's a career, it's a calling, it's all of that, but this
Mm-hmm.
is what I've been doing since.
Wow. And so that's the past 15 years. Has so obviously it hasn't always been like that for you.
It hasn't always been like that. No, no,
Interesting.
yeah. So it's been
Is
the past 15 years.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, is there something that did something happen in your life to decide to do what you're doing now?
Yeah. Well, actually, it goes back further, because 15 years is just me having the title and being given the permission to do what I do.
Yeah.
But I actually came into the recovery home myself back in 1997,
Wow.
and before that, my lifestyle, was a lot different. It's of course, I was involved in a criminal lifestyle. Involved in street gangs and drug abuse. And facing 5 to 10 years in state prison.
Mm.
I never went to prison. By the grace of God, I'm glad that I didn't have to. Of course, I did have to do a lot of time on probation, and that was pretty hard, and I didn't like it. Um,
Yeah.
but but because of my drug charge and because of the the lifestyle that I was living. But that changed. I somebody came and spoke to a buddy of mine, um, whose mother was a member of this church that I help pastor,
Mhm.
and and she wanted somebody to speak to her son because he was just as bad off as I was. I mean, we weren't any good for each other, but he was my best friend. We were what we call in the street, we were road dogs, man. We did crimes together. We just a lot of bad, and
Yeah.
and so his mother had started going to church, and she wanted somebody to kind of reach him, and I was there that day when somebody showed up to go speak with him, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to be here. So I'm not all about this religious stuff, man, and I really
Right.
wasn't. And but somehow he convinced me to stay, and I stayed, and we heard the guy out. A guy was giving his story, his life story about his conversion, and how the Lord had done a great thing for him, and I and I'll be honest with you, man, I don't think I had bathed in about a week and a half. I mean, I was a mess, dude. I was
Mhm.
wearing the same clothes that I had on for like over a week, and in those days, I used to dress different. In those days, I wore Stacey Adams and khakis, and had my
Mhm.
hair slicked back and a long ponytail, and you know and you know and it was every day for me, man. My addiction started, just fun, weekend partying, matching up buddies for 12 packs, 24s, and getting loaded all night, and so
Mhm.
eventually where it was all my money was being spent on that, and to where I was just doing it every day.
Oh.
And then of course, graduated, from that stuff, to cocaine, and a lot of other things, getting involved in other kinds of things, but anyway, that guy was talking to my buddy, and I was listening, and I didn't really pay too much mind to it. It really didn't grab my attention, didn't interest me too much. But he was there for about an hour, and he stood up and he told my buddy, he said, "Hey, man, I gotta get going. I gotta go back in," because he was part of one of the outpatient homes that we had back then, or they had back then.
Right.
And he was, I got to get back. He was already working and everything, and reestablishing his life, back to society, and but he had to leave, and so he asked to pray for my buddy, and my buddy's like, "Yeah, that's fine. You can pray for me." And then he looked at me, and I was sitting. I'll never forget. I was sitting on. I remember like if it just happened. I was sitting like on this, sofa recliner, and I was smoking a cigarette, and he said, "You want me to pray for you?" I said, "Yeah, I guess it wouldn't hurt, you know."
Mhm.
And so I stood up, and he started praying for both of us. He put his hands on both of us, and started praying, like Christians pray, and
Right.
it was something I had never heard, man. And so it was all new to me, and like for me, Christianity up to that point was like a joke, man. People made fun of it. Everybody I hung around with made fun of it.
Right.
You know, the TV shows that I watched back then, you know, made a mockery, of all that stuff, and so
Mhm.
to me, I had no interest, man. And but he laid his hands on both of them, and he started praying. And I'm gonna tell you right now, as unbelievable as it may sound, man, but I'm speaking the honest truth, man. When he started praying for me, I started laughing, because I thought it was funny.
Mhm.
And moments into his prayer, I just felt like an overwhelming sense of like a warmth, man, that just started to like really just like you know take over, and kind of like I started sensing like somebody lit up a fire in front of me,
Yeah.
and within moments, man, I started crying, and I just started bawling. And then I was like, well, hold up, this is what's happening. I was freaking out, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it seemed like the more that this guy like rubbed my back, because he had his hand on my back, and he
Mhm.
was telling me stuff like it's okay. It seemed like the more he said something to me, the more I
Yeah.
started crying. Like, why
Crazy.
are you saying that? But it's just stop, man. And I wanted to, but I couldn't. And I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. I said after that happened for about maybe 5 or 10 minutes. It wasn't that long, but it felt like a
Mhm.
long time. But I'm gonna tell you right now, after I stopped crying, man, I knew something was different,
Mhm.
and I knew that from that day forward, I just didn't want to be the same anymore. I didn't want to live that same lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day I went to church. I hadn't even gone to church yet. The
Yeah.
next day I went to church, and that was my salvation experience when I accepted the Lord into my heart. And the next day I went to church and I started getting involved, and then eventually I came into the rehab center,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent years, in preparation, character modification, character correction. I had to learn everything from the beginning. I'm not sure, like, for me, if you understand, like, I didn't know anything about God.
Right.
I didn't know anything about church. Like, I came in super raw, dude. Like, I came into the church cussing up a storm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't know anything about, how this life was supposed to be lived. They're supposed to be lived. And so little by little, I began to learn. And then eventually he's my lead pastor now here in Corpus. He took me under his wing, and he came from the same lifestyle. He himself was an addict, and he was actually a gang member and everything. He was from the city of Chicago,
Yeah.
and he began to work with me. Of course, we call it discipleship, but he really began to just invest in me and believe in me, and believe that there was something greater for me, and that there was more purpose for me.
Right.
And so all that just helped to was part of the investment, and it just helped to fuel the desire that I already had, of wanting to do something, for God's kingdom, of course, in the church, and
Yeah.
and to lead, be in some way, allow myself to be used to have an impact on somebody else's life. And so that's where it all started. So and then eventually, of course, after training and preparation, my first ministry that I did was youth ministry. But before that, it was a lot of years of preparation. I mean, I'm telling you right now, dude. There was a lot of Tony, the old Tony, that
Yeah.
had to be dealt with before God could show me, to everybody else, as a minister,
Right.
and and it's been a long journey, but it's been a good one so far, man. And today you're looking at and you're talking to a guy I'm not the same person I was back in that day.
Yeah.
And of course I credit that to God, man. First and foremost, He saved my life. He forgave me for all my sins,
Mm-hmm.
and He put a desire in me, man, to want to reach out to others, and that's what we do. That's what we do, whether it's through the church or through the rehab. And through the rehab, I have the privilege of seeing it every day. Because
Crazy.
we live here with our men, and we get to see them come in the same way, broken up, tore up, because of addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 8 months down the road where they're just totally different, and there's a lifestyle change.
Right.
Yeah. So so yeah, it wasn't always like that, but that's kind of, in the short version, how it all went down.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy how to me, like, how one person can just shift, you know what I mean, to from the way they were living to that type of life, to I guess a godly lifestyle or whatever you call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's I don't know, like I've seen people do it before too, and it's just like how come there's other people that are still doing it? Like how come they haven't done it? You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
always like wonder like what uh why, kind of like why are we special, or why are you special, or why is that person special? Why were they able to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always those kind of questions in my mind. What do you think about that?
Yeah. No, I get you, man. That it hasn't been easy for me. I mean, like I said, I gave you guys the short version, but I mean, dude, it was a struggle the first few years. But I
Mm-hmm.
just knew, man, there was always that constant, like, I got to do this right. You know what I mean? Like I knew that I just didn't want to go back to the same lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But the struggles, of course, they were there. The temptations, they're still there.
Yeah.
But the difference is now, I've learned to trust in the Lord to give me the strength to overcome those things. And but no, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't easy. The first few years were real hard. And I mean, the battles come in different forms and different sizes. The
Right.
challenges, the stuff that we face, the hardships. you know. But for somebody like that's struggling, that's man, you know, how come that guy's making it and I'm not making it? Or how come it
Hmm.
seems that, you know, and for me, I'm still here, you know, slipping back into my alcoholism or my addiction. You
Right.
know, you know, there's just the best that I can tell you, and I tell the guys because I have a lot of guys that come back to the home over and over, and I just tell them, look, just keep trying, man. Don't give up. You'll
Yeah.
you'll you'll get your breakthrough, man. You'll get it, man. Just don't give up. You know, don't think that we're anybody special because, oh, I'm not drinking anymore. Listen, you may be struggling with, you know, drinking or drugs, but I may be struggling with something else. We're still struggling.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Just people are in different parts of their journey. But
Interesting.
but yeah, I get that. No, I get that, man. I mean, that's the best way that I answer to, you know, because I deal with that here a lot at the home. You know,
Yeah.
guys are wondering, well, why do I keep falling back? And I mean, you know, sometimes I don't know an answer, but I just tell them, you know what, bro, just don't give up, man. If you're willing to stick it out, and just keep your faith in God, man, and don't give up, man. Don't give up, man. Eventually, man, that breakthrough will come. You know,
Yeah.
or on the flip side, unless there's something that they're really not letting go of, you know. But that's a little bit more deeper conversation. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
sometimes it could be something that they're hanging on to, and that you know, you'd be surprised how something that seems so small, you know, could
Hmm.
be the one thing that's blocking you from having that full victory.
Interesting. Cool, man. Yeah. So you say victory. What does that mean? I mean, what does that mean? Like, if somebody's asked, like, if somebody's wondering, like, what does he mean by victory? You know what I mean? Is
Yeah,
it just like, is like coming out of addiction, like the actual victory, or is it like the life after that? You know what I mean? What do you consider that as victory?
yeah. Well, of course, coming out of the addiction, but for those that fall back into it, never having to fall back into it again.
Mm,
That's we count that as a victory, you know.
right.
You know, because there's not. I mean, there's of course there's many victories, but we count that as a victory. You know,
Right.
because you know, for some, you know, it is a struggle. It really is. You know, and you know, and some have made the attempt, and you know, they'll even go to church, you know, and you know, and pray, and for some reason, you know, they find themselves struggling, you know, but you know, there's it's pretty common. I mean, you know,
Mm,
but you know, but again, you know, the best way that I advise them is just, you know, keep faithful, you know, don't stop, don't give up, keep your faith in God, keep coming to church, you know, eventually I know that God will break through on that, man, for you, man. You know,
mm,
that's the advice that I give him, man. And I because I know because he's done it for me on many occasions, you know, not just with my addiction, but other things, you know. Because on top
mm-hmm.
of my addiction, I mean, I had a real bad anger issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, the addiction was just one of them, you know. And you know, my character, you know, I couldn't be told anything without answering back disrespectfully, and you know,
Yeah.
that was who I was. You know, that's the kind of character that I had. So the
Right.
addiction, you know, like in my case, I'll be honest with you, the addiction was probably the easiest thing for God to deliver me from. The
Mm-hmm.
hardest thing was, I think, for me was my anger issue. I had a lot of anger, man, and a lot of resentment that I was holding on to, and that took more time. That took more time. That was more of those other years of me just really, you know, because you know, like in my case, I was a lot younger.
Mm-hmm.
I would blow up, and I'd be, you know, upset or you know, pissed off, you know, for the whole day, and then at the end of the night, I'm like, man, why'd I even get mad? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
myself up, and you know, and then there I go again. You know what, Lord, I'm sorry, man. I need help with this, man. Like I don't get it. You know, for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
that was probably one of the bigger challenges was you know was my actual you know my character.
Right.
And that took a long time. You know, and you know for God to really deal with that area of my life. You know.
Yeah. So how do you, cuz like, cuz I used to deal with that stuff too, and like, how do you, it seems like we need to get wisdom from outside sources, or even in your case like the Bible or whatever, you know what I mean? uh eh, eh, what type of sources have actually helped you to overcome that, or to, you know what I mean, to do better in that area of your life?
Of course, you know, education. You know, I mean, I love the Bible. but I do read books.
Mm-hmm.
I do read books. As a matter of fact, and there, I'm reading this one right now, Winning with People,
Nice.
and this has a lot
Nice.
to do with character. It has a lot to do with character. It talks about, like one of the things that I read the other day is a lot of times we say this phrase, and you've probably heard it. I'm going to put that person in their place.
Mm.
And this guy here, he's a life coach. His name is John Maxwell. He says you need to stop saying I'm going to put that person in their place, and you need to start saying I'm going to put myself in their place. Because maybe I need to put myself in their place so I can understand why they're doing what they're doing, why they're saying what they're saying, and why they're acting the way they're acting.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we just we think that somebody's a certain way, but we probably don't have the full story.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I learned that I was reading last week. Instead of saying I'm going to put them in their place, why not put yourself in their place?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there's an old proverb that says you don't know a man until he walks in his shoes.
Yeah.
And that's an old saying that a lot of people have said in the past. But
Yeah.
but I like to read. I like to educate myself. I don't believe that oh, Jesus saved me and that's it. And whatever. I don't believe in that. I believe that I need to be educated. I believe that I have to educate myself, especially in the life that I live.
Mm-hmm.
And but I do have other sources. Of course they're a lot of them are authors that have proven themselves good authors. A lot of them are Christian authors, but also I'll read books from non-Christian authors. Just good books. But I educate myself that way. I have mentors that help me when I need to talk to somebody,
Right.
that are not necessarily in this circle, like where I serve in our immediate church, but friends and mentors, that are part of other churches, or and if you're willing to listen, you'd be surprised, man, who can speak some wisdom into you, man.
Right.
And a lot of times I think one of the cliches of a Christian is we only want to get advice from Christians. Sometimes people that don't know the Lord have good advice. If
Right.
you just have to be willing to listen. And so and I know that it sounds kind of weird coming from a preacher, right? But
Mm-hmm.
but if you're wise, you'll listen to wisdom.
Right.
And yeah, it was a great question. I'm glad you asked that. Because it does. It means a lot. And I think that like speaking on behalf of Christians, I think that a lot of times we fail in that area. We fail, especially the Latinos. We fail in educating ourselves.
Mm.
We
That's a
fail
good
in
point.
educating ourselves. Yeah, we fail in educating ourselves. Yeah, God took me out of the barrio. He took me from the hood. But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean that I can't better myself. It doesn't mean that I can't seek a better way to convey my message. It doesn't end there.
Right.
And but at the same time, like for a person like me, I'll never forget where I come from.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, man, like some of the best moments that I have is when I'm out there in the streets talking to old school veteranos, man.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm at home when I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Like it just feels natural.
Right.
So yeah. So I hope I answered your question, man.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. Yeah, it's all good, bro. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that too. Like it's like family, like you have family or even older folks that are because my dad taught me when I was younger, you respect older people, especially in your community. And he just taught me that, right? And then even like later on in years, I find myself talking to them, like you say, just learning stuff from them that they have learned throughout the years. And that type of wisdom would help me along the way too. I can definitely relate to that. So you were mentioning we fail to educate ourselves as Latinos or Hispanics or Mexicans or whatever. uh do you feel like that's maybe like a sense of pride on our end? I mean, why do you think that is?
You know what? I don't think it's pride, man. I think it's just being exposed to more.
Mm,
Or putting ourselves in a place, or having somebody, you know, I'm telling you, man, this cat that I read from, man, he has a lot of great points, man. And there's a principle. It's called the law of the lid. And especially like if you're in business, it's a good principle. But I use it for what I do. But the law of the lid is like if you have the bottle, right? Like we're drinking water. The law of the lid is like, do you have somebody that's acting as a lid in your life? Or do you have somebody that's acting as the lid remover? In other words, somebody who's going to give you the opportunity to grow in your potential, to grow in your capacity, And if you have the capacity, then there's a lot of room there for you to grow in your capacity, And I think that, I think it's I don't think it, I mean, it could be pride, I think, but I don't think for the most part that it's pride. I think it's just, or like in my case, or like, you talk, how you have your dad, how he taught you, having somebody that really believes in you enough to say, you know what, I know that you can do more, I know that you can do better,
Yeah.
And like my wife, she's a big reason why I make it a point, to do that, especially like when it comes to speaking in public, and she would, after I would like say I would speak at an engagement or a church or at in a service, and afterwards my wife would be like, hey, you should have said that. I'm like, what'd I say? I don't remember. I'm preaching, I'm excited, but then I go back and I listen. I was like, yeah, you're right. I should have said that, Well, you should have said it this way. So what she's doing is, she's helping me and mentoring me in that area, where I can learn to be a better conveyor of whatever message that I'm giving,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do you think it's pride maybe or
No, I think maybe in a sense, maybe a little bit, but not for the most part. Like, because I feel like a lot of times, like we think we know everything. You know what I mean? And
I mean,
that could be,
that tends to happen, yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's not only our culture either. It could be different cultures too. Because pride knows no culture. You know what I mean? Every culture is different. But I'm saying, like, because sometimes we can think that we know everything, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna listen to that because I already know. You know what I mean? It's like a human, I guess, mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's because I read Proverbs a lot. Proverbs, like, a man who ignores instruction is basically a fool. If
Yeah.
you're and when you ignore that instruction or that wisdom, it's like you're a fool. And it's like, why do we want to be fools? Why wouldn't we, like, not want to advance our lives? You know what I mean? And want to
Yeah.
get wisdom to continue to advance our lives in whatever way we think is right. And it seems like in the Christian's case, the way is right is what God says is right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like God, it seems like God is the main proponent in their life to help them to live the way he has created them to live. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
seems like that's the Christian thought.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I just thinking of that. Yeah. So what do you like preachers and stuff like that? I know you're a preacher yourself. You mentioned. How do you feel about, like, preachers that come in the news that there's a lot of bad news about them? Like, it could be like, sexual misconduct or even whatever the case may be. How do you feel about that type of stuff?
The well, there's a long answer and there's a short answer. I'm
Mhm.
going to give a short answer because I don't really have that much time.
It's all good.
And the short answer, the best way that I can give for that would be, you know, we're representatives of God,
Mhm.
and God calls us to the ministry, and to preach, to reach people, to counsel, to be there for families, and especially those in our church and our church communities. And
Mhm.
so yeah, we have a responsibility given to us by God,
Yeah.
And that's something to be taken very seriously, because we're held accountable for everything, because people look to us as leaders,
Mm.
and as but but and this is in no way, um, trying to make less of anything that a Christian or a preacher, anybody does that's wrong, and that's, like you
Mhm.
said, it's come on the headlines and stuff. But you know, we have we have we have still a fallen nature, in the sense. In other words, there's still capacity in every one of us to do
Right.
wrong, to and now, why somebody makes a decision to do wrong, that's something that because I don't know them on a personal level, but I'm sure that it didn't just start there. I'm sure that there's been, usually, for something to be public, is because it's probably been brewing for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and it's hard, because people look to us, and and when they see something like that, you know, they're like, man, and it's like a turnoff.
Right.
Like, and the one that gets the short end of the stick is God. Because right away, everybody naturally just blames God, and just blames,
Yeah.
God for what happened, and but every person is an individual, and we're called to live a holy life, or the right, especially in, you know in private and in public,
Hmm.
not just one, both ways, but you know yeah, that's the short answer, like, there's still that
Yeah.
that tendency to mess up, to you know
Hmm.
and there's a lot more to that, but it basically, when God, going back to the question you asked about, what about people who, they tried it and
Hmm.
they seem to fall back. It goes back to that, there's that tendency in all of us to
Hmm.
slip up, and to sin, and to mess up, and to, still, you know hurt people, and still, offend people, and still, you
Hmm.
know it's not right. I mean, of course, I don't agree with that, you know what I mean.
Yep.
And the like I said, and the one that always has to pay for it is God. you
Yeah.
know we make the mess, and God always has to be the one to clean it up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it, and but and but I think that at one point or another, you know every one of us is guilty, of not being good representatives, of who God has called us to be, at one point or another, and it's just some are more public because they're more in the public eye, you know
Mm.
like, so because they're more in the public eye, everything's
Right.
magnified,
Yeah.
but and I mean, it could happen, in a church, it could happen in a restaurant, it could happen, you know
Yeah.
just, but it just, it's I think the more public that a person is, and the more it's magnified, you know what I mean.
Mm.
you know
Yeah, for sure.
and that's why, of course, recently, all these kind of things that are coming out, that we're seeing on TV and stuff. But
Hmm.
again, I know that all of us are accountable to God, and of course, I think, we have to be accountable to the people too, the people that we serve, the people that we lead,
Hmm.
and because, some people, they want answers, like, why did you do this, and why did it happen,
Yep.
and it's never easy, but I know that, you know none of us is what's the word I'm looking for? None of us is exempt from messing
Mm.
up, man. Doesn't matter. You could be the best preacher in the United States. We're not exempt from screwing up, man.
Yeah.
We still have a human tendency to fall back, and to if we're not careful, if we don't watch our relationship with God, and the way
Hmm.
that we live privately and publicly, we could just as easy fall into that as anybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah, that
mean?
makes sense. Yep, for sure.
So that was
Yeah.
a short answer.
Nah, it's all good, man. Yeah, it seems like it seems like we put the it seems like we magnify the like the institution that is the church as a society more than God and what God says, like, especially in his
Yeah.
word. And it seems like we put the institutional church, whether it's Pentecostal, Catholic, whatever, we put it so high regard that when something like that happens, it's like, what happened? You know what I mean? We put them so high up here, and then this still happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it seems like it's a letdown, and it shouldn't be like that, because we shouldn't put those institutions, you know, so highly. We should put God more, God, the Creator, God, more highly than that. You know what I mean? So because if you look at it, the person that is God, he's unflawed. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
not, he's flawless, and so that we can't blame him if he's the prominent, as opposed to the church being the prominent.
Yeah.
So it's, and it seems like that's ingrained in our society, and it has been for years. Uh, so yeah, we're all human, man. Definitely, I totally agree with that. We all make mistakes, and nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
that's not to lighten it up or anything, but it is the truth though. I mean, it's just that's why I say that's the short answer. The long answer is just a lot to talk about because then we
mm,
really have to open it up, and we could be
right.
here for hours. But
Right on.
we'll
Yeah,
get to
man.
the bottom of it, but we'll just be here a long time.
Cool, man. I appreciate you coming on, man. Do you have anything else you want to share?
No, man. Thank you so much, man. And the conversation we had before we started was pretty cool, man. You know,
Yeah.
like but the music thing, man. That's something that I still love it, man. I still have a passion for music, and any
Hmm.
chance I get, man, I still like to play and just kind of make sure that I still got it. You know,
Yeah, for sure. So you play bass mostly. Did you say you
yeah.
play guitar? I don't remember you saying
I
just
play
bass.
guitar, bass, piano, anything I can put
Yeah.
my hands on.
Yeah, man. That's
And
nice.
I try singing. I'm not the best, but
Yeah, no, me either.
I'll try to get by every now and then.
Yeah, no,
But
I don't do singing at all, man. Maybe in the shower, and even at that, my wife's like, can you keep it down, please?
yeah, exactly. No, my wife makes fun of
Yeah.
me, man, because I try to do like different things when I sing, and she's like, "Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't sound good." I was like, "Man, in my
Yeah,
mind, that sounded good."
yeah, and it's funny, like how we listen to our wives, like, and we ask her because we know that she's kind of looking out for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I do the same thing too. I'm like, I always ask for her opinion, like, hey, what do you think of this? And usually, and most times, her opinion it always works. You know what I mean? It's like if I try mine, I'm like, ah, damn, maybe next time, whatever.
exactly, man.
Yeah, that's
Cool,
awesome.
man.
Yeah. So you're married. You have just your daughter, or you
A
have
daughter. Yeah, I have
yeah,
a 8-year-old Eliana, and she's growing up fast, dude. She's getting tall, man, and she's
yeah,
about up to my wife's shoulders already, and that's pretty tall. And
yeah.
but we're gonna try for number two. We'll see
Awesome.
before I get any older because I'm already getting old. Well, not
Yeah,
older.
man. Yeah, no, I think you're the first on the show to be. I think you're the oldest so far on the show.
No, how dare
Nah,
you?
it's all good. You know what, man? I've been wanting to get like my one of my aunts or something that are like, they're old school, man. Been in the city for the years, just to get them on. Get their see what they just to get them on. It would be cool. I think it'd be cool.
The other day, my wife and I went to buy some shoes for my daughter at Finish Line. It's not called Finish Line anymore. It's called
Oh,
JD Sports. And I haven't been to the mall. Well, not I've been to the mall recently, but not to that store. And they changed the name, and I was like, "Y'all changed the name? Well, we're still Finish Line, but we're in the trans." Okay, good, I get it. But man, I didn't recognize anybody in that store.
Mhm.
And then I started talking to them. I said, "What about this guy?" And anyway, they were all looking at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, how long have you been here?" The guy's here. I've been here a long time. The guy goes, "I've been here like 6 months." I'm like, "No, I'm talking about like a year or 2 years ago." Oh, and he's like, "Hardly any of those guys are here." And my wife looked at me and she says, "You know what, Tony?" She goes, "You just got a reality check that you're old.
That you're old.
You're outdated already, man." I'm like, "Oh man, dude, I
That's
can't be
funny, man.
outdated, man." That's what
Yeah.
we're playing. A Corpito
Yeah.
hat so I can look cool again, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can look
What is it?
young.
Yeah.
I have some swag, man.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, I've been driving for like, man, since maybe like 12 years or so. No, I don't know, 12 years. Anyway, so they gave me a new truck, they put me in a new truck, like brand new truck. And I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, man, in all my years of driving, I've never had a new truck. And I was saying, you know what? They used to always give the old truck to the new truck to the old guys. And that was my reality check. Like, dang, I'm an old guy.
You're getting old. That's why I gave you a new truck.
Because they gave me a new truck.
Man, dude. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
That's funny, man.
Nah,
Yeah.
but I'm just old in number, but I still feel okay.
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's all
still
good,
okay
man.
so far. You know,
Yeah.
it's always
Yeah.
good to try to pursue a healthier lifestyle, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. And then you posted a picture of the snowball and you tagged us in it. That was cool, man.
Yeah. Oh man, I love
Yeah.
that place. Matter
Heck
of fact,
yeah.
my daughter might want to go over there today. She's always wanted to eat something, like a snack or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's it right there, man.
Yeah. The snowball. My family lives right there, right on Mohawk, like a couple of streets back on Baldwin. And
Yeah,
so that's how we knew it was there. And like there's little taco spots down there too that nobody knows about, man.
yeah,
And it's just pretty cool. I like the little culture down there. I miss it,
yeah. No, it's
Uh,
really cool, man.
yeah, I miss that culture, and it's like that's the culture that we know, that people in the city, So yeah, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thank you for the invite again, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? So how do we find you online if we want to follow your page, or are you on Instagram mostly?
Oh, my Instagram is. I should have put my handle. I saw you put yours is at Anthony T75,
Let me
but
see.
that's my Instagram handle.
At what is it? At Anthony
T75.
E75.
Yeah, the year I was born. And
Oh, nice.
and of course, our church. We do live stream. We also have a Instagram account, Victory Life Corpus Christi.
Okay,
And,
Victory Life.
yeah, and if anybody wants to ever log in and watch a service, and watch either my pastor or myself speak or another speaker, they're welcome to do that as well.
And so I'm sorry, man. I was gonna say goodbye. The men's home, is that associated with your church, or
Yes.
I mean, how do people get integrated in there? And I mean, if they know anybody.
If they know anybody, dude. Where's that? I don't have my book with me. I had another book. I have everything like right here, right where I can grab it, but I don't have one of those small books.
So Victory Life, that's on Brownlee, right?
Yeah, give it.
Victory Life on Brownlee near Morgan, guys. Check it out if you get a chance. Anthony is I think he's a co-pastor there at Victory Life on Brownlee.
Yeah, and I pastored the Outcry home. This is
Okay.
us right
Yeah, I've seen that before. Outcry in the Barrio. If you guys aren't watching, he's holding up a book that says Outcry in the Barrio. That's a prevalent book that's been down here in our area. So check it out. So that's the name of the men's shelter. Is it Outcry?
That's the name of the men's home, Outcry in the Barrio Men's Home. And we also have a website, outcrycorpus.org.
Outcrycorpus.org.
Yeah, and on the website it shows everything, gives the phases of the home. Of course, you'll see a picture of myself and my wife on there, and a few photos of the men, that have been through the home and stuff. And
Awesome.
it gives a description of everything we do, and we've been here in Corpus since 1981.
Wow.
And we've been operating here in the same location. We've been here in the same place, 1207 Craig Street.
1207
right
Craig.
smack in the middle of everything.
Nah, for real. It is in the middle of everything.
Yeah. And
wow, that's wild.
And of course, when I came, it was in between 96 and 97. But the home had already been here way before that. And so I was a resident here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, man. I know a last story, but
mm-hmm.
I was a resident here in 97 and went through the program, went through the phases and everything, and I finished the program. And back in those days, we have a real big facility now. Behind me, this is the office. Behind me, there's a multi-purpose room, and it goes back like another 50 feet. We have an upstairs dormitory. men's dorm. We have two big restrooms, one downstairs, one upstairs. It's a big commercial kitchen, just the whole 9 yards. And
Yeah.
but none of this was here when I was here. When I was here, it was just a little 2-story house, like a
Wow.
lot of these little 2-story houses you see in the neighborhood, just a small little duplex kind of looking.
Yeah.
And when I was here, it was just a little 2-story house. I think it probably no bigger than maybe 40, 60 feet by 40, a real small house.
Wow,
And
crazy.
when I was here, there was about 45 of us here. And I'm pretty sure we broke every city code. There's a lot of guys. But
yeah, man.
there and I was a resident here, and I was getting help here. And
Wow.
well, anyway, fast forward 2015 when I took over, when
Mhm.
I was commissioned to lead the home. My wife and I and my daughter, we live upstairs in the same place that at one time was the dormitory in the old home.
Wow.
And that's our apartment now. And one day I was cleaning and we were preparing it and we were getting ready to move our furniture in. And I was in my daughter's room.
Mhm.
Now, my daughter's room, when I was in the home, was the room where men would come in to have withdrawals from heroin addiction.
Crazy.
So that was the room that we would, it was more private, where we would be with them, all day, all night, making sure, if they were going to get sick, they could, if they needed to throw up or take a shower. That was the room that all that took place in.
Wow.
I got to see countless heroin addicts, and alcoholics, give their lives to Jesus, and get clean, and it happened in that area. And I remember I was getting ready because we were moving in and we were prepping my daughter's room. That's her room now.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget that, I just remembered right away, like it came back in a flash. I was like, man, I used to live in this house as a resident.
Mhm.
Now, 20 years later, I'm the guy in charge.
Crazy.
And it just, like, it came full circle for me, like, wow, man. And all I could say is what a difference Jesus makes, and
Yeah.
and I texted my pastor, and I said, and I told him what I'm saying, and I said, listen, I said, it's crazy. I go, but I just had a thought. I said, I'm here cleaning, getting ready to move my daughter's things into her room, and I just had a realization that this was the place that I was a resident at, back in 1997. And he texted me back with just one word, and it just floored me, man. And the one word that he texted was the word destiny. It was your destiny, man. I was like, wow. So for me that means a lot, man. But yeah, that's the home here at 1207 Craig Street. And
Wow.
but yeah, and we have a lot of new guys coming in right now. We got a lot of young guys, and we get guys from all over the place. Of course from Corpus, Flower Bluff, Gregory, Rockport, and even further out. We have guys coming from the valley, sometimes even from out of state.
Man, that's tough, man.
But,
So yeah, how do they get it? Is it like a program that, I mean, how do they be able to be there or to go through your program or whatever? Do they have to like fill out a paperwork, or you know what I mean? How do they get involved in there?
Form. We have to do an interview in person with them, and of course, we go through all the policies with them, and if they agree and they're willing to say, you know what, yeah, I'll go by your rules and policies. Of course, then we get them signed in, and it's free. There's no charge whatsoever. It's been like that ever since we opened the doors back in 1981.
Wow. Yeah. Is there like a set amount of time that they have to be there?
So the recommended time is 3 to 6 months, and we recommend the longer one because it just takes a little bit longer for we call it like the real person, because a lot of times, because I was a drug addict, we always have the, I'm gonna change, and sometimes we put a hustle on, and we can act good for a month or two, but you can't keep up the act that long. Usually after 2-3 months,
Crazy.
you start to see, okay, okay, that's what we need to do. We need to work on that,
Wow.
And so we always recommend the longer time because we want to make sure that these guys go back to their families, changed. Of course, we can't change them; only God can, if they allow Him. But the time that they get to spend here with us, especially the longer they spend here, just gives us more insight into their behavior, into areas that need to be addressed, where they need to make changes at,
Yeah.
and so I always recommend the longer stay. Right now it's 3 to 6 months though.
Wow. That's cool how how it's like 3 to 6 months, because that after a month they can't keep up the hustle like you said.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, bro. Wow, man. Yeah, check it out, you guys. Outcry. Uh, and you can find Anthony right here, Anthony T75, and you can find message him. People can message you, right? They'll find you on Instagram
Yeah,
mostly,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. They can on Instagram. They can DM me, or on Facebook. Anthony Torres. Or
okay.
even the website. They go to our website. They can send us a message through the website, and we'll get it on our Facebook page.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'll
I
leave.
linked it to the Facebook page that we have.
Okay, yeah, and those links will be in the description of this episode when I drop it, so you guys can check it out there. One more time, I appreciate you, Anthony. Yeah,
Thank you.
I've had guests on here before, and it's just part of the culture where we say goodbye like 5 times until we
I know
actually leave.
you sounded like a preacher now.
Yeah, preacher, right?
That's how preachers are. I'm gonna finish.
Yeah, this is my
They never
last one.
finish.
Yeah, they never finish. That's funny,
They
man.
never finish, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. And yeah, one more time, I appreciate you, Anthony. I got another guest in a little bit, so I got to get prepared for that. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you again.
Hey, if you stay on the line real quick, we'll talk about some more stuff.
Okay.